Well, how did that work? Did that work? It kind of worked. I mean, it was a little bit of my show opener, using a little bit of music now, figuring out how exactly to get through it. Hopefully you like that. Welcome, everybody. Happy Wednesday, April 1st. April 1st. What the hell is April 1st anymore? Who needs April 1st anymore? Welcome to Corona TV. This is where you need to be right now because, there's a lot of stuff going on. I guess we should start off with not that, because we've done that already. That's where we need to be. I have not one guest, but two guests today. And I mean, to be honest with you, it's like, I can't believe how lucky I've got Josh Linkner here. I mean, the other guy, forget about him. That's just a little, bit of a celebrity appearance. But Josh is the guy you really need to hear from. He's a great guy. We've known each other for a long time. Yeah, we're gonna talk about a whole bunch of things. We're gonna talk about resilience and creativity and innovation and disruption and, just what you can be thinking about, how to kind of invent and reinvent yourself during this particular tough time. As always, as of yesterday, I want to celebrate birthdays. These are my 5,000 Facebook friends, people that are celebrating birthdays today. A lot of media people that I recognize. In fact, I'm not really sure if anyone personal to me, like friends and family members, but whether it's Erin or Rose, that beautiful Scottish accent, I miss it. David Verkland, so many people. I'm not even going to sing. I'm going to start singing happy birthday to you guys, but not today, because there's a lot of stuff that I have to get to and through. The reason why I'm doing these birthdays is because whether it's a birthday, an anniversary, something special, send me a link, send me a comment. I always go, you know what I'm going to be talking about in the morning. You can go to the Facebook page and put a comment there, and I will give you a shout out. Right now I'll give you shout outs because I don't want people to be alone. You shouldn't have to be alone right now. You shouldn't have to celebrate an anniversary or birthday by yourself. So like I did yesterday, I wanted to talk to you about some highlights from the after show. We do 30 minutes here on Facebook and YouTube, and then we move over to Zoom. Well, two new people, Keith Burtis and Martin Albarda, joined us for the conversation. We spoke about many things, right? And we spoke about this idea of, from Big Brother is watching you, right? If you think about historically what's happening in our lives right now, to Big Brother, right? Big Brother, the reality show, to Big Brother is saving you. What's happening right now in China is that it is the Internet of Things. It is all of these tools and technologies and devices where everything and everyone is connected. Yesterday, I showed you guys how this company using data visualization was demonstrating how important social distancing was. But actually what's happening right now is there are now smart devices, and I'm calling it the Internet of Temperatures, that are actually demonstrating what the various temperature or fever levels are in the US right now. And a company called Kinsa, and you can actually see these charts to see where the fevers are spiking and where the cases are. It's quite fascinating, really, if you think about it. So I've got to move really quickly because Trevor's waiting, and I've got to bring him onto the show. I tweeted him this morning. This shows you the power of camaraderie and community. This shows you, how. I just reached out to Trevor. I said, thank you for agreeing to be on Corona TV today. See you at 2 p.m. And he responded to me, and that's amazing. And I know a lot of you turned around and said, is it a joke? Is it April Fool's? There's a lot of memes going on and thoughts that we should cancel April Fool's, right? Because this whole year has been a bad, bad joke. But this is absolutely an April Fool. So, unfortunately, I wish he would have come on, but did we really need him? In fact, I really did reach out to him and I invited him. Sorry, guys, if you're all pissed off with me right now, if you tuned in, I'm watching the numbers just declining precipitously, but I really did reach out to his people. I really did tweet him, and I'm not going to give up until Trevor Noah comes on my show. God damn it. I am going to use this. He is going to be the Matt Damon to my Jimmy Kimmel. So I am not giving up as well. So just a few little hellos to people. Hello, Alison. And who else just said hello? We've got Amy. Amy, welcome back to the show. And Joey has been a real regular. He said a nice intro. So thank you, everybody, for, and of course to Lindy. Thank you guys for being a part of the show. It means a lot to me. Well, you know, we always start off with the numbers, and we start off with news. And, you know, the breaking news right now is that Trevor Noah sends his regrets. He wasn't able to make it this particular time, but I'm sure he'll be back. I'm sure he'll be coming back. I mean, it's not like he's got anything better to do, right? Or a place to go or a person to see. So yeah, he does send his regret, but there actually is a real piece of news, which is finally, the governor of Florida has issued a statewide, I believe, lockdown, whether it's shelter in place or lockdown. Finally, Florida gets with the program. And we are sitting right now in the US where I think now over 80% of all Americans are now staying at home. We need it. We need it quite badly. Because if you look at, you know, as we always do, we go through the numbers. The numbers continue to increase, and the recovered, you know, my article that I wrote, the recovered, not just recovered, the recovered continue to increase as well. But it's really the US numbers that I think are becoming now, you know, the US is the hotspot in the world. Tomorrow will be a much maybe more serious, darker show. But for purposes of today, I'm going to keep it a little bit more light and inspirational. But I think we do have to acknowledge right now that the numbers are increasing way, way too drastically and dramatically in the US. And 1,000 people dying in one day. We have some dire predictions. We've got to make sure that we reverse the curse here, that we flatten the curve and we invert the curve. I'm not going to accept anything that I'm told right now about what those numbers are. I think we can all fight, and we can fight as hard as we've ever fought in our lives to make sure right now that these numbers absolutely do not come true at all. So just a quick thing before, there's only one thing that I'm really going to talk to you about, and then I'm going to bring Josh onto the show. My cap. Right? Every day, different cap. This is my pet peeve. You know, people that say, you're not going to believe it, instead of you're not going to believe it, Y-O-U''RE. And I found this cap. I don't know where I found it, but it's you're with a little asterisk. And so like people could literally pour out their hearts to me, you know, write an email, write a pitch, you know, a post on Facebook, and all I'm going to do below them, be a little snarky about it, just write you're. So that's what I do. That's how I handle it as well. So we have, I have one topic that I want to discuss with you today, and I've been like kind of teasing it for a while, which is what is the official app of COVID-19 of this period of time? You know, whoops, can you guess what it is? You know, it's TikTok. Obviously, it's TikTok. It's interesting, TikTok, because TikTok was an app called Musical.ly, and I don't think it was very popular at all. I wonder how many of you knew that. How many of you knew that TikTok was actually called Musical.ly? It was essentially a lip syncing or a karaoke type of an app. But this shows you the power of the rebrand. And now TikTok is everything, right? It's bigger than it seems to be, bigger, more relevant, and more sticky than a Snapchat, than so many of the other apps. But what makes it work? What makes it work is that it is inherently viral, in the sense that the whole essence of TikTok is and I think that I'm calling it a response, but it's a different word. You send a response to someone, is that you kind of, it's almost like a hot potato. You keep passing it around. They've built virality into their business model. So somebody starts a trend, and then everybody responds to that and builds on top of that. And you end up with an entire body, an archive of work, if you will, that, you know, is based on a dance or is based on a song. So why now? Well, I think it's pretty obvious why now. because people are cooped up at home, because people are trying to express themselves, because people want to share, they want to inspire, they want to laugh. You know, like I don't mind if you laugh with me or at me. I prefer with me, but you know, in some cases, it's okay if you want to laugh at me too. Because what's really happening right now is a very interesting war, I think. Kids versus parents. You know, my kids telling me how TikTok works and what I should do and what I shouldn't do and that I shouldn't be on it. And it's almost like these kids feel like they understand everything today, don't they? They understand social media. It's like I wrote the book on social media in 2007. I wrote Join the Conversation. And yet, so I think there's a very interesting little battle or challenge happening. And I'm not prepared to give up on my ability to embarrass myself. This was my first TikTok.
Wow, you can really dance. Wow, you can really dance. He went. They said we've both been dancing all this time. What a coincidence.
There was a lot of embarrassment in my household when I did that. And I didn't care. And I said to them, hey, listen, sometimes you just got to put it out there. You've got to just be able to, like, if you can get someone to laugh, again, whether it's at you or with you.
Wow, you can really
no. You do not want that again. And we'll just leave it at that as well. I can't believe that that's the screen that I ended up kind of freezing it on. The final thing about TikTok is, I would say, is, you know, do you believe the numbers? I mean, I don't know that I necessarily believe these numbers. There's a lot of skepticism about TikTok. You know, it's an app that comes from China. Do we believe any numbers coming out of China? Let's just be honest. You know, my daughter actually created a TikTok with me in it, and she has over 150,000 views. And I just look at all these people that, you know, these are people that go to school with my kids. They're just local kids. And suddenly they've got 1 million and 3 million and 8 million and 12 million followers on TikTok. And they're on Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon. And it seems like almost every single TikTok out there has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views. I'm just a little bit skeptical. Hope you don't mind. Just a little bit cynical in this particular case, that these numbers are actually real. Look, it's irrelevant right now because we need the laughter, we need the engagement, we need the entertainment as well. But I'm just a little skeptical. I will say one thing about them, because, you know, I've studied them just a little bit as well. The fact that, you know, the default TikTok is about 15 seconds and it just keeps looping. So I don't think it's unreasonable that, you know, when somebody does something really compelling in 15 seconds, that you actually end up watching it 3, 4, 5, 6 times. I've watched some of these TikToks 10, 15 times because they're awesome, you know, and they really are catering to the attention span of what I call the MDD generation, right? The media deficit disorder generation. So those are just some of my thoughts about TikTok, the official app of Quarantine 2020. And now, more importantly, it's my real pleasure and privilege to welcome my real guest, which is Josh Linkner. I mean, Josh, tech entrepreneur, New York Times bestselling author. I personally just love the fact that he's a creative troublemaker. Aren't we all? So, Josh, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. Thanks for doing this. And also, by the way, your TikTok was absolutely hilarious. I'm still laughing from it.
And were you laughing at me or were you laughing with me? Don't answer that.
I was a little bit of both, frankly. I just thought it was cool that you did it. And, like, you know, to be able to be playful and make fun of yourself, that's awesome. I'm the worst dancer in the world, so I'll send you one back that's equally amusing.
I'm the best dancer in the world, clearly. But you know, I actually have said to my kids now, which is I'm willing to do this every day with them, for them to teach me a dance. You know, not only is it an opportunity now, because that's really what's happening. When I say it's the official app, it's not just to look at these, you know, what I call these web celebrities, right? It's all the people doing it with their parents. And you know, it's not like the joke's on us right now. We're all part of this joke. What's happening in the world is a joke. So I think that that's the beauty of it, and maybe that's why TikTok is taking off now more than ever. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think that there's so much heaviness right now, and there's so many things that are impacting us negatively. We're all desperate for a little bit of fun. We're just itching for a smile. So I couldn't agree more.
So now, Josh, we met many moons and lifetimes ago when you were the founder and the CEO of ePrize. And literally, I don't think it's a stretch, because it's true. You essentially wrote the book and created the definitive company that handles these, you know, sweepstakes and promotions, spinning the wheel, chances to win, scratch offs. Became, I think, the foundation of digital and online promotions.
Yeah, you know, when I started the company in 1999, everybody was very focused on internet advertising. So instead of just being a fast follower, I said, well, what if we paved a different direction? And in this case, promotions, as you know, are a large part of the marketing mix, but it was largely dormant online. So we launched really the world's first interactive promotion agency, kind of half ad agency and half software company, and built it and scaled it. We grew to about 500 people, and we served 73 of the top 100 brands before I sold the company in 2012.
And what's so interesting is, you know, at the time, that's how I knew you. And then after many years later, you've written 4 books, 2 New York Times bestsellers, and you are one of the world's leading keynoters, right, on creativity, innovation, reinvention. I mean, I'm bad at math, you know, I'm dumb. But what's your record number? How many keynotes did you do in 1 year? Last year?
Well, the most I ever did, I did 163 in 1 year, and that may be more based on my craziness than being, you know, accomplished. But you know, for me, I do it honestly. I just love sharing ideas with people. I believe that all of us as human beings have enormous untapped creative potential, and if I can help people unleash it, just incredible things happen. It doesn't mean that everyone's going to become a rap singer or a dancer or do interpretive poetry or something, but we can all be creative in our own ways. If you're a salesperson or you're a customer service rep, why not add some creativity to the mix? Not only is it more rewarding, but it actually has the opportunity to elevate performance and results. So I just love sharing ideas on this topic. I'm very passionate about it, and again, grateful to be here with you today.
Yeah, and that's how, like, we kind of reconnected, because so much so, you know, part of the theme and why I wanted you to be on the show is this idea of sharing and helping, right? Helping is the new selling. I learned that actually on a webinar that I was on that you gave a couple of weeks ago. I mean, every day feels like a week and week feels like a month now. But you actually started a company now to help other speakers raise their visibility and their profile. I attended that. My wife came with me as well. And more importantly, you know, I've been doing it for a while, but you're helping people that have never even stood up on stage, that have never even spoken, that have a story to tell, that have an inspirational message. You're helping them. You're taking all your trade secrets and sharing it. And then it is not a stretch to say this, because you know, when you stood up and when you even positioned this program, you said nothing is off limits, nothing is off the table, full and complete transparency, and that's what you delivered. And so I think it's amazing how you are, you know, sharing. It is also, by the way, the inspiration for me doing this as well, which is bringing other people on with inspirational messages, because you know, truly the rising tide floats all boats, and we need to help everyone right now.
I couldn't agree more, and I think the world's grateful that you're doing this and supporting others through these challenging times. In our case, with our speaker development business, first thing I learned is that the world of professional speaking is much larger than I thought. There's like $4 billion of speeches bought and sold every year just in North America. So not on top of that, I believe in abundance anyway. So I feel like if I can share, I don't care, I'll share everything I know. It's not going to hurt my business. I just think the world has got enough opportunity for us all. And so it's really been fun sharing with folks like you and others to help watch you guys go out there and make a bigger impact on the world. It's intrinsically rewarding, and we just love doing it.
I want to say, just before we continue with this conversation, that if you have questions for Josh, please go ahead and put them in the comments. I'm just looking at a few comments at the moment. this is my doctor. This was my doctor, my pediatrician, Solly Son, all the way from South Africa. And we haven't connected in so many years. I mean, I've been living in the US for 23 years. So it's nice to see him. It's nice always to see Crystal. She's a regular on our Zoom after show. Martine, you knew it was an April Fool. I know. And I tried to fool you, but it didn't work. And hello to Sharon. Steve Garfield said he knew it. Bob says he's happy to see me healthy. I'm going to maybe go for a run today. And Mark Morris said it's not a response, it's called a reaction on TikTok. So it's nice to see just a few comments as well. Hello to Stephen as well. Welcome to the show. And finally, Bob said, helping is the new selling. Who knew? Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, you know, I remember even when I was at college, this idea, because I was a marketing guy, right? It said, you know, I remember a professor, he said, marketing is common sense, but how many of us have common sense, right? So there you go. So Josh, you know, back to you for a second. And, you know, we're sitting in this unprecedented moment in time. What have you learned from the content you've created, the audiences you've spoken to, and specifically this message about resilience and reinvention that you think now more than ever brings a powerful message to the table?
Well, we are obviously living in a very, very difficult environment right now. But when you look back historically, difficult environments often breed wild success. People who started their business in the middle of the Great Depression are some of the billionaires that we know today. And same thing with other both economic and social issues throughout history. So I think there's a real opportunity for us. I don't mean to be glib about it, but I've been asking myself, Joseph, this question a lot. Like a year from now, when we look back at this time, how are we going to look at it? And I want to look back at it and say, I'm proud of the way that I responded. And I was productive during that time. I didn't just hide in the corner. So I've been trying to use just kind of radical productivity and saying, there's lots of stuff I can't do. I can't go speak in front of 5,000 people today, but there's also a lot of stuff that I can do. And the analogy that I just kind of snapped into place for me last night was that, you know how a band, like imagine a musician, I play jazz guitar, I'm very passionate about music, but imagine like the Beatles or someone. So they would spend some parts of their lives traveling and touring, essentially performing their works that they created at a different time. And then other times when they get off tour, they go back into the studio and they work on creating new music. And there's that cyclical nature of it, whether you're, you know, Britney Spears or the Rolling Stones, same kind of thing. There's periods in which you're in creative mode, and then there's periods where you're in performance mode. What this crisis has done is it's put us, all of us really, into a spot where we're a little bit more isolated. We can't be out performing the way we normally do, but I think there's a real opportunity there to get into creative mode. And whether that's someone working on new material for a book, or whether it's rewriting your sales scripts, if you happen to sell life insurance, whatever your craft is, it's an opportunity to be reflective and to reimagine what's possible such that you emerge from this period stronger and ready to perform at your best.
I mean, I love that, the creative mode and the performance mode. And on this webinar that I attended, there were a few things that really resonated with me. The one thing was this idea of like, go deeper, you know, on your domain expertise. You know, read that book that you didn't get a chance or didn't get around to reading. Create a new, you know, another thing that comes out, right, which is create a new presentation. Right now, look, there's gonna be an abundance of supply, but people talking about grit and determination and resilience and digging deep and sharing those inspirational stories. Well, it helps to have the keynote written and created, as opposed to sitting around and then saying, oh crap, you know, I've got to create content and research that content, right?
Yeah, completely. And I know people on this session are from all walks of life, but you know, the other thing I've been thinking about recently is think of all the times where we say, gosh, if I only had the time, if I only had the time to read my kids a book every night, if I only had the time to exercise, if I only had the time to learn a new skill or take up the guitar or whatever that only had the time moment is for you. And for whatever reason, we're in the situation we are, but what a great opportunity to do those if I only had the time activities.
My daughter, about 3 or 4 days ago, said she thinks she's going to learn how to play the ukulele. And last night I heard this sound coming from her room. It arrived on Amazon Prime, and within 1.5 hours, she taught herself 2 songs, and she's playing the ukulele. It's exactly that. It's exactly that point. The other thing was, create new content and practice it. I've created a show out of nothing, and every day there's something new. Every single day so far, I'm bringing something new to the table, and I tell you, it's like I have no idea where it's going to go. I don't care. I just love the fact that I'm in it right now, and it's giving me a reason to continue, and that motivation. And that's why I think the message, I mean, I get it so much from your stuff as well, is that's why I keep saying, keep your head up. Don't get your head down. Dig deep and find a reason, and a purpose, whether it's playing the ukulele or creating new content or reading a book, or, as you say, we need to go into creative mode now more than ever.
Yeah, and the other thing too is that you're doing something that you can control. So if you just sit around bemoaning the fact that there's this virus that's beyond our control, we can quickly devolve into being hopeless or feeling completely just the world is outside of us. But you can control the fact that you're now doing this live stream once a day. How awesome is that? I control that I'm working on some creative projects of my own. And actually, what happens when you're doing that is just all of a sudden you feel like in control of your own life again. Yeah, there are certain things we can't control. I can't go walk, to my favorite restaurant and hang out with others, but there are many things that I can control. And I think for all of us to focus on those things that are within our grasp, it really becomes liberating. I think it's good for our mental and emotional health.
Oh, I love that point, this idea of control, because, I could mute you if I wanted to, but why would I do that? No, but it's true. It's like, it's something, and even when the technology kind of screws me as it did a few days ago, you just bounce back. So I've looking at time, but there are a few things that I just want to hit. The first thing is something that just hit me as I was looking at your bio. As a jazz guitarist, I would imagine riffing and scatting, or whatever the term is, this whole idea of, in a way, making it up as you go along and being able to adapt and truly be agile. That is a lesson in of itself for not only what you talk about and what you practice in your day-to-day, but I think lessons now for people. Wouldn't you say?
I totally agree. The thing that's I often get asked about jazz is, how do you feel confident going to perform up on a stage with a discerning audience? Like, how do you know you're going to play everything right? And the answer is surprising, is that I know I'm never going to play everything right. Like, I've been playing for 40 years and I've never had a performance where I played everything right. So creative confidence doesn't come from knowing you're going to be perfect. It comes from knowing full well you're going to stumble, that you're going to make a mistake. But then it's having the confidence to course correct, to bounce back in your words, and knowing that life is this series of setbacks and mistakes followed by bursts of recovery. And I think that this broader sense that we're in right now is the same thing. The way a jazz musician would look at screwing something up or being in a tough spot isn't, oh my God, the world is over. It's, all right, here's now the fun begins. Like, now we got to figure out how to get back on track. And by the way, a little funny jazz thing, if you play it safe on stage, you'll get laughed off. Nobody cares because you're not taking any responsible risks. On the other hand, if you play a terrible note, like a total clunker, just play it twice more. Call it art. Everything's good.
I love that. I love that. And Joey just asked a question, which is, what are your thoughts on conferences right now and possible speaking opportunities after the corona effect? So we know what's happening right now, but how do you see it all shaping up?
3 phases. The first phase, the next 90 days, totally dead. Nobody's getting together. Even if they've lifted restrictions, the idea of packing people into a room, strangers, not going to happen. The next phase, though, let's say from 90 days, maybe it's like July 1st for the next few months, I think it's going to be a slow climb. I think people are going to be a little bit cautious. They're going to want to take a little bit of a wait and see approach. So neither of those 2 phases sound that exciting. But the next phase, I think, is really exciting, because the one thing that this experience is telling us, yes, we're functioning because we can do Zoom meetings, but I think it's more reaffirming the importance of being together and the importance of human connection, even in a digital world. So what I'm seeing and hearing is that I think conferences are going to roar back. I think especially coming out of this, the need for being together physically, emotionally is going to take off. So I'm really bullish long-term. I think the speaking industry may see a slight decline due to a recessionary period, but long-term, I feel totally optimistic that this business is going to be roaring ahead, even in the context of technology.
Well, that's, that's good for me, because at the moment I'm sitting like you are in many respects in those 90 days, but in full creative mode as well. At the bottom of your screen, everybody, you can see how to get in touch with Josh. He's, it's very simple, right? Josh Linkner on pretty much all the social media channels. This man is becoming an absolute fiend and a demon on social media. I know all about that with him. And of course, you can visit his site. Definitely look at some of his video and keynotes. Read his books. Inspirational guy. He inspires me. He's part of the reason why I'm doing this right now. Josh, hopefully you'll join us on our little after show for a little bit, see who joins us afterwards. But I always end every interview on the show, and it's okay for a couple minutes over, because I control it, right? Advice, Josh, what do you want to share with people out there that are hurting, that are scared, that have lost their jobs, that are looking to try and figure out what to do next? Also, you're from Michigan as well. Your state is hurting, as is the tri-state where I live in. So I want to give you the last word, and I also want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing some of your wisdom with all of us.
Yeah, I don't mean to sound like a Hallmark card, because we always hear things like, if it doesn't kill you, it makes it stronger, and if life gives you lemons, make lemonade. But I think there is some truth in that we are being challenged. There's no question about it. And these are difficult times for many, for all of us, really. But the real question we have to ask ourselves is, how can we make it to our advantage? How can we become stronger as a result of this? How can we use this opportunity to whether it's sharpening our skills or learning a new thing or improving, so that we basically upgrade ourselves? This is a chance, these quiet periods of reflection, it's a chance for us to upgrade so that we emerge as a new and better version of ourselves. So I know it's tough. I'm not trying to be glib, but that really, I think, is the opportunity that we all have. And let's focus on that. Is the things that we can't control. We can't control the counts on CNN, but we certainly can control what we do with our days and time. And let's use that the best that we can. And I think that we will emerge. Again, this tragedy will end. And the question then simply is, have we used it to our advantage, and have we elevated ourselves the best that we could? And just as we conclude, Joseph, again, I want to thank you for doing this. You're spreading real positivity in the world. You're making a difference. We appreciate and celebrate your work, and just keep up the great insights for everybody.
Thank you, buddy. That was Josh Linkner 2.0, I might add. And this is Joseph Jaffe 2.0. I will be on the Zoom after show. Come join me, and I will see you tomorrow for Corona TV. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.